Okay, a super quick note before we jump into our review of It Chapter 2. It's a bit of an apology. Our audio isn't great. We had a few problems. We're in a new space, so it is to be expected. So the audio is echoey. It's not ideal, but you know what? I think it's a great review, so we decided to post it anyway. Without further ado, here is our review of It Chapter 2. Welcome to Whiskey Movie Club. This week we're talking It Chapter 2 and drinking Angel's Envy Kentucky Bourbon.
As long as there is whiskey in the world.
For your listening pleasure, straight from Kentucky.
It's a okay. Good little pucker.
It was a pucker?
It sounds like
a butthole? Let's hear this butthole again.
Tell us what the actual term for a cork sound is supposed to be. I think it's just pop.
Uncork
pop.
I don't know. Yeah. All right, before we pour, who wants to smell it? Who wants to smell the bourbon?
Well, that's gonna be good. Looking.
Yeah. So,
I'm excited about that.
Yeah,
it does smell really
We've been looking for this for a while. We've been wanting to drink from this. Like it's fountain youth.
It's your delicious
chosen wisely.
bourbon.
Well, I'm sure it's quite prevalent in Kentucky. It's actually been kind of hard to find in Northern California.
Sure.
So this showed up in the liquor store today, and I bought it, and it said limit 2 per customer, and I took them on that offer.
Yeah.
All right, so Jason, tell me when.
That's good to go.
All right. Travis? In case they decide to sponsor us, we should get the sexy label pour.
Now, I'm excited because I know this is, that's good.
Binging with Babish.
Yeah,
That's his favorite.
I'm blanking on his actual name, but it's
Babish. Just call him Babish.
Yeah,
I think he's fine with that.
I'm sure he gets that a lot. It's an A name, Andrew or Aaron, something like that.
I'm just going to call him
Guy from
Andy. I'm going to name him after Andy Dick. Because they have so much in common.
I'm sure they do not.
You know what? Here's to Babish and Andy Dick.
Okay.
Oh, dude, the nose on this.
Oh, yeah. I like that.
Yeah, I can see why he recommends it so highly.
This might be my new favorite,
It's up there.
range. I mean, we try and keep our the price of our whiskeys on here under $50, so it's accessible.
Yeah.
We make exceptions, such as Red Rest.
Yeah.
But I think this was $45, and you know what? I think it was worth it.
Yeah, it's real good. Like I said, it's good straight up. I could see it being good in a cocktail. So, yeah, good for that. Maybe just above, kind of a, quote unquote cheap bourbon.
It's a little better than Buffalo Trace or Makers.
Yeah,
Right.
but you're not going to be breaking the bank on it.
No, this is a good
This
taste.
is an affordable, delicious bourbon. I think I'm gonna keep this.
Neat bottle.
It is a cool.
I like
bottle.
to see through. You can see the label.
Yeah, it's
and
got
then
the wings in the back. This is they put some thought into it. As most people know, we are suckers for labels and products.
Right.
And it's got the wood
wood cork
lid, which
Yeah.
it's the little things.
It's the little.
It's the little things, and we appreciate it. Angel's Envy.
Not sponsored, but could be.
You could be. I mean,
we have openings.
wouldn't you like this to be the face of your delicious bourbon? It's the face of sophistication. All right, so before we jump into It Chapter 2, let's talk about two movies that we saw on top of that we haven't had a chance to review yet.
Yeah, we took a small break to kind of get our new shooting space set up. So neat if you've been here watching us from the beginning. If you're just now joining us, it doesn't matter. Go back and watch those other ones, I guess, if you want. I don't know. Probably not. Do they exist still even? Who knows?
I haven't deleted them yet.
Oh, okay. Get them all you can.
This one looks significantly more like an art museum, which is nice.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, no, it's just...
Yeah, but yeah, so we took a small break, got some other stuff going, and but in the meantime, we were still seeing movies. So you saw...
I saw Ready or Not, which is a movie that on the show we've talked a lot about being very excited about, and you saw...
Angel Has Fallen.
Which we also talked a lot about it being...
About me being excited.
I was still excited, but I think you use a term... phrase somewhere along the lines of, it's a dumpster fire, but dumpster fires are fun to watch.
Could be. Yeah, I guess just my thoughts are, it did not disappoint because I knew exactly what I was expecting. If you've seen the 2 previous ones and you enjoyed them, this is just more of that. And yeah, it's not a high thinking movie, so I just went in and just turned my brain off and enjoyed things blowing up and gunfights and just general summer action film that was fun.
How does it hold it up against Hobbs and Shaw?
Hobbs and Shaw was definitely a lot more like, there wasn't any crazy like cybernetic superhuman villain type stuff in this one. So in the sense of that realm, Angel Has Fallen's a little more grounded.
A little more plausible.
Yeah, but still, like, there's a chase scene where he's driving a like 18-wheeler like truck and like outrunning like the sheriff's department, and so
that's one of my biggest
it's fun.
pet peeves in movies is like usually it's the inverse of that. Like the main character will be in like a vet or
Yeah.
like a Camaro or like a Mustang or something, and they're getting run down by an old van.
Right.
But yeah, all around good summer action film. Again, if you liked the other ones, which I did, they are just more of that, and that was great.
So, one of my favorite movies that I've seen this summer is Ready or Not. I love that movie. I'm not going to spoil it since you haven't seen it yet.
Haven't seen it yet.
And I know
It's on my
a lot of
wish
people
list.
haven't seen it yet. If you haven't, go see it because it is a delightful fucking movie. I put fucking in there on purpose because this is not a... There's no way it's rated PG-13.
No, it's definitely rated R.
Because they drop a lot of F-bombs.
Yeah.
There's
Lots
lots
of
of blood.
Lots of
People
blood.
getting
Nice.
skewered. Like, we're not going to show clips from the trailer. If you haven't seen the trailer, don't watch the trailer. Just get off your ass, pause this to resume later, and go see Ready or Not
Yeah.
because it is, oh my god, it's so funny. It's tense. It's just amazing filmmaking.
It's neat because we haven't seen a dark comedy in a good while.
No.
Not one that's been like successful at riding the line of being like, oh, this is legit, like terrifying, and having really comedic elements that like just break up the lefty really well.
I guarantee this is something I will be watching every
Oh,
fall. Like I enjoyed this movie so much, and there's not an aspect of it I wasn't thrilled about. Really, like I walked out of the movie and I've been thinking a lot about this movie in the last couple weeks. And usually, the more I think about a movie, the less I enjoy it.
You start to break it down a bit
Yeah.
more. You start
Right,
poking holes at
And
it.
obviously, there's little. It's a horror movie. As with most horror movies, you have to suspend your disbelief
Sure.
a little bit, and this is no exception. But it's nothing that crazy.
No, yeah.
So anyway, that's the extent of my review, Jason. I know you were at a Saber Legion tournament this last
was.
weekend, which is you were
It's a whole nother story.
yes, yeah, which is justified. That's amazing. Pick
I
up the
need to
slack
catch
and
up.
see it this weekend.
I need to catch up. I need to catch up.
Okay, you saw both of them.
I saw both of them.
Which one? If someone was going to go see one movie this weekend that wasn't It Chapter 2,
I'd see Ready or Not over Angel Has Fallen.
what about over It Chapter 2?
I'd see it Chapter 2.
Really?
Yeah, I think just because that's going to be the like water cooler one that
This
you're
is
not
true.
going to want to
And
miss
you
out
do
on.
get more movie for your money at
Yes.
3 hours long.
You do. So just getting into it.
It's
No
a
spoilers
Costco-sized
yet.
movie.
Yeah.
It's a family pack movie. Yeah.
Yes.
You just get one of these and then you're good for the month. and-
Supersize it, and
Yeah.
you're all good.
All right, so let's jump into It Chapter 2.
That I did see.
You did see it
I did see it.
because we had to for tonight.
Yes. I didn't want to spend time out on
You
the
didn't
porch
want to
again.
go sit outside again.
Outside, Jason. So let's just kind of just give our initial thoughts without spoiling anything more than what's been in trailers. We've been yapping our brains out. What'd you think, Jason?
So overall, I liked it. I'm pretty new to the It films. I didn't see the original one until just a couple weeks
Well,
ago.
let's clarify. When we say the originally, mean
Or the
2017.
The 2017
Yeah.
one. I didn't see that one until just a couple weeks ago. Just hadn't gotten around to it, and I really liked that one. So that made me. I was really excited to see It Chapter 2, and overall first impressions, I enjoyed it. It was a little on the long side, but besides it being a little long, I kind of settled in and I enjoyed the film overall.
I've heard that a lot from people.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think that's been kind of the consensus, and I agree with it pretty wholeheartedly that it's really enjoyable. There are really great moments of tension and scares in it. But the movie it felt a little bit long, a little bit bloated, and we've talked a little bit before recording was setting up here. And we all kind of agreed on the parts that we could cut out and be fine with missing out on those parts.
Yeah, I don't want to get in too much into
we'll
into
talk
those
about
parts.
that later. But I think like the more everyone I've talked to is like, yeah, I'd lose this part, and you're like, yeah, that's what everyone's talking about.
This movie is at the same time a remake and a sequel to the last movie,
Yes.
which is kind of weird because they basically rehash a lot of the events of the first
Right,
ones.
a lot of
They
flashbacks.
bring back the kids. I don't think that's any spoiler. They do some weird de-aging. Didn't bother you guys.
Not
It
as
didn't
much.
bother you as a visual effects guy. The lips didn't match
I've
up
definitely
well.
seen a lot worse as far as de-aging.
Oh, we all
stuff.
have.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, I agree. It was incredibly long, and they could have cut a lot of the movie because there's a lot. They relive a lot of those moments from the first.
Definitely.
I walked out of the theater really loving it, thinking I loved it a lot more than the first one. It hasn't stuck with me like the first one did, though. The first one I still love. I can watch over and over again, and I don't find new problems. And I've seen that movie several times. This one,
Yeah.
after just like stewing on it for a couple days, a lot of things really bother me. But that being said, I know I'm being really negative. It's kind of a movie you have to see. To your point, it's a water cooler movie. It is much funnier than the first one.
Yes.
It's got Bill Hader.
Who
and, like,
he did great, by the way. Yeah.
he's. Oh my God! Like we had the
almost stole the show.
McConaissance. Like
Yeah.
McConaissance. What was that? 4 years ago? 5 years ago? We're just gonna come up on like a Bill Hader sons. Right?
Oh, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like after Barry. Barry is the most like neglected yet best shows on TV. And in this, he is amazing.
Do you think Bill Hader's the new Paul Rudd, where like we just start seeing him in a bunch of things, and then some of these in the Marvel universe?
You know what? He's not going to be America's dad the same way.
No.
No.
He might be your weird ass uncle who takes you
Right,
fishing.
right.
America's like cousin that comes over sometimes,
Well,
and you're
like,
like, I'm
see
pretty
him
sure
every
he's selling
Thanksgiving.
drugs out of his hand. Like,
Well, I mean, like Bill Hader, and this isn't a knock on him. He's like an average looking dude. He's a cool dude. Whereas there's something very attractive about Paul Rudd.
Sure, I
You know? Paul Rudd, amazing. He's charming. But, like, Bill Hader has serious acting chops.
yeah.
And he's able to convey extremely like deep emotion without saying much. He's got, and I would have never guessed this from his time on SNL. But like after watching Barry, again, if you haven't seen Barry, it's worth the price of HBO now. Like, do you guys watch Barry?
I haven't, but that's on my list of things to see.
The
I've heard nothing
final
but good
episode
things.
of season 2 is one of my favorite bits of TV.
I haven't seen it yet. It's also on my list.
So good. But enough of this,
Hader love.
But Bill
Hader
Hader was fantastic in
was.
this movie.
He was the best part
Yeah.
of it, and
Agreed.
he was the most sympathetic character in it for me. Where some of the other characters, I sometimes questioned their choices, and I was a little less sympathetic. I really liked him. Although, speaking of characters, and I feel like I've been ragging this movie a lot, I do like the people they chose to play the Losers Club.
Definitely.
I thought
Yeah.
this was great. We didn't say this, but the movie does take place 27 years
27, yeah.
after the events of the first and now all those kids are now grown up. They're all, late 30s, early 40s, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
But
right?
I didn't realize this going into the movie, but the guy who plays, I forget the kid's name, but it's the Old Spice guy.
Yes.
Oh.
Mustafa. Is it Isaiah Mustafa? Or
I think something like that, yeah. And he's not the Old Spice guy.
No,
Yeah.
Like
I
the Old
didn't. I didn't know that either. Till
He's kind
afterwards.
of like a slightly chubby, like middle-aged dude who kind of tinkers in his garage type of guy. And he's not like the Old Spice guys, like
Not ripped and-
Yeah, he's like he's the guy that's gonna steal your girlfriend.
Right. Right. Yeah, I told my wife, like, did you know that's the Old Spice guy? And she was like, she didn't believe me. I had to show her.
And Jessica Chastain is great.
Fantastic.
She's always great. I
Perfect
think-
casting between her and the younger version of her.
Perfect. Yeah.
Perfect.
Another big gripe I had from the movie is they do a lot of showing of the terror. Like horror movies work best when the horror lurks in the shadows, and here they obviously had a much bigger CGI budget.
Sure.
Like CGI
Yes.
grandma runs around. Like there's the weird what is it?
We're dipping
the
into
disease
spoilers
man.
a little
I guess,
bit.
yeah, but that's in the trailer.
Yeah.
But there's so many monsters in this.
There are a lot of monsters, and the CGI on those parts are what kind of got me, because a lot of it looked just sort of goofy.
It kind of looked like they
Sometimes.
took, a half decent CGI render, dropped it in After Effects and did like a warp on it, like
yeah.
Like that background warp. That
Yeah.
background
No,
warp thing,
like you know, you can like do a mesh warp in
Okay.
After Effects.
Yeah.
Sorry if you guys aren't video nerds like
We're
we
nerds.
are. But like you can do a mesh warp on an object, and so
Yeah.
and you look like you just kind of like it's the first thing you do when you learn After Effects when you're like 12. You just start like pulling things apart.
Pulling things
Right.
around,
And
yeah.
some of it kind of looked like that.
A little bit. The part, and it's in the trailer where he's like got the kid in the House of Mirrors and
Yeah.
he's licking
Oh,
the
yeah.
glass, and I was just like,
That looked weird.
it looks like a weird cartoon, like Scooby Doo tongue, and like that scene has a lot of tension to it.
Yeah.
Where wasn't Bill?
Bill Skarsgård.
Yeah, Bill. Bill the character.
Oh, Bill the character. Okay, yeah.
is trying to break through the glass to get to the kid, and Pennywise is on the other side, is trying to break through the glass to get to the kid, and they're kind of both like trying to get to it. There's a lot of tension, but like in the beginning of it, it was like he's trying to rescue him from a weird cartoon dog
Right.
thing.
Well,
Like,
and that was despite Bill Skarsgård's best efforts to bring the best Pennywise performance to date. Like he's amazing in this.
He is.
Incredible, but they just show way too much of the monster.
yeah.
Pennywise is in it more than probably. Wait, that's a lie. He's not in it more than the other characters, but he's in it too much.
He's in it a lot.
Is that-
I will say that I felt that this I'm sorry. I will say that this movie had a lot more jump scares than the first one did.
This is true. Yes.
And it was sitting there with my wife, and she kept like squeezing my hand. It's like there's a few things that got her. I'm like, which is good. I like that type of stuff in a horror movie. I like to be. That's the stuff that's
Sure.
going to get you.
It was a lot of fun. I think like this movie would be an A+ for me if they shaved off 30 to 40 minutes.
Oh,
Yeah.
easily.
Because it just drags too much.
Yeah.
And they can do that by getting rid of a few of the flashbacks.
Totally.
Yeah.
This is slight spoiler territory. I say slight because if you know what I'm about to say, it changes nothing about the movie, and it's probably better to know this going in. So you've kind of been warned. But the first 10 minutes of the movie, it was really hard to watch.
Yeah.
Because I mean, well, I don't think it's that much of a spoiler, right? Because like you could literally jump in 10 minutes into the movie and nothing changes. So like this isn't spoiling anything. Just know it's helpful to know this going in. The movie starts off at a fair in is it Derry? Derry, like a dairy cow, I imagine. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
It's not driving a car. It's milking a cow.
It's no.
Wrong direction. Vertical. Anyway,
Go ahead, just make a GIF of that. That's on the internet forever now.
you'll have noticed there was a hard cut here. The power of editing.
Okay, but
I edit this. I choose,
You choose what jokes stay.
and only the ones that land.
Yeah.
No, but the first 10 minutes, because it starts off at the fair in Derry,
Derry.
And you're following this gay couple.
Yeah.
These two 20-something guys, and they get harassed by these...
One of which is from the town.
Yes,
And
yes,
and
and
presumably his boyfriend is from somewhere else. They
sound
met
like they
somewhere
might have-
else.
The big
like,
city.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, yeah,
New
some,
York or
and they,
whatever.
they kind of moved back, and they get accosted by some rednecks.
Sure, that's fair.
Some redneck, like 20-somethings, and their little tween brothers or cousins
Yeah,
or
whatever. There was some.
brother cousins.
You
I
don't see
know.
him again after the intro, I don't think.
No, that's why this doesn't matter. None of
Yeah.
these characters show up again. So rest easy. I'm not spoiling anything. They leave. They get accosted by them. There's some a little argument back and forth. The gay couple leaves, and then they're met in the parking lot by the hillbillies, where they are brutally beat up. It's
It's real rough beat
It's
down.
hard to watch.
it's Saving Private Ryan hard to watch. And especially as it's like this time in America, it's so real, and there's no relief.
And I kind of like appreciated that about the opening scene. Like it is rough, but it was like, oh, this is like the influence of this evil entity. Like this, like
Had they spelled that
heightens
out,
it.
though.
Yeah, and that's only from like going off of like having rewatched the first one like a while back, not super recently, but they had kind of touched on like
Sure.
some of that, and maybe this is just something from the book I've never read, and someone like has mentioned it before, but like as he comes around for his feeding cycle, like hatred
Right.
and other
Builds
things
up. But
gets
The
heightened. by
tone
his
was so
presence.
different in the first 10 minutes than the rest of the movie. Too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
It was
Well,
heavy.
well, I'd
It's
say
so-
that the first 10 minutes, and then if we're just into spoilers now,
Well, should we go into spoilers?
I feel like we should.
Okay,
We're starting
so-
to break things down.
So,
but-
spoiler warning, we're going to get into those. But just know that, like, once you get past that first 10 minutes and you're sitting in a theater and you're, like, cringing and you're digging your fingers into the armrests of the seats
Yeah.
and you're like, I didn't realize we were going to watch a hate crime.
Yeah.
It gets better.
full-blown.
It turns into full comedy horror after
Yeah,
that.
but I said
So spoilers,
So
go away if you haven't
spoilers
seen
here. The reintroduction of Bev is she's being assaulted by her husband.
Yeah.
That was a bit hard to watch.
That has that same. I was like, this is what this movie is. It's just like, hey, you know what?
Good point.
This is life. This is where it's at. Terrible people do terrible things to other people.
Yeah.
And it sucks, and we should be doing something about it. And, like, I thought there was going to be more of that in the movie. I just, like, kind of those two scenes, and they're early on, and then it's like, all right, Scooby-Doo gang, go, like, solve your mystery.
Right.
Like, I was like, oh, okay, well, whatever. And I know, like, I haven't read the book because it's about 1,000,000 pages long.
Yeah, it's a little over 1,000 pages.
But I know in the book, Beverly's husband and Bill's wife, like, they play more role in the movie. Like, they show up at Derry at some point, and they have, influence on the other thing. So I thought that was, like, a kind of a neat way to sort of appease people who've read the book to be like, oh, well, she was in an abusive relationship. But they just go, all right, here it is. She's leaving her husband. It's gone. He's out of the picture. Like, they just
I
don't
expected
address
that
it.
to play into some greater arc, but
Yeah.
like, so you set up all these problems that the characters have, before they go back to Derry.
Yeah.
But none of those are really resolved except Bill Hader's.
Yeah, and I think the greater arc, or more so the purpose of that scene, is to showcase as children they all kind of got over their individual problems and band together and formed the Losers Club and went and fought Pennywise. But then as adults they kind of fell back into.
She married her husband.
She
or
married her
dad.
Yeah, her
essentially.
dad, and the other kid married his mom, who was like over controlling and stuff. And so.
Although that did kind of bother me because the actress they had, I feel bad even saying this, was a little on the heavier side. And then
Yeah.
they make fat jokes about it the whole
lot
movie.
of
And
fat-
I'm just like,
oh.
that was unnecessary.
Yeah.
I mean,
But that was also the relationship between Ed and Bill Hader's character.
Totally.
Definitely.
That
They
was
could've
their
done
kind
that
of
with
like,
Hey, how's your mom?
yeah, whatever. Oh,
I
you know.
get that, but it still felt kind of gross to me.
Yeah,
know?
it was a little rough, but
Maybe it's because I'm a former fatty.
yeah, maybe, I don't know. It is what it is. So they do that a lot of it, but at the same time, I think it was just them coming back together. Like fell into the like, your mom's so fat kind of jokes and whatever
Yeah.
of like their childhood, and that was just them getting back to
That's their shtick. That's what they do.
whatever their previous relationship was. Maybe like they never
Yeah.
really. We'll dig into that a little bit later, but. Yeah, I think that was their kind of thing. That was how they expressed their friendship for each other. Okay, well let's just address kind of a little bit of the elephant in the room. We've been saying a lot of it that it's bloated. That's our big criticism.
Oh, right. That's a good
It's
point,
long.
yeah.
So, and just kind of jumping into it, we've sort of all agreed that Act 2 is full of all of these flashbacks.
Which is basically a rehash of the first movie.
Right, to just basically remind you what happened in the first movie and the character relationships between them. A lot of it is setting up or remind you that there's a love triangle between Bev,
Nick,
Bill, and Nick. Is it Nick?
the fat kid.
Ben.
New
Ben.
Thank you, IMDb.
Yeah,
Yes.
Ben, Beverly, and Bill. Really, all three B's.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm looking at IMDb. It's, yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of it is just like, hey, remember that
Bill.
both of those boys have a crush
Yeah,
on
you're
Beverly, and she, thinks that Bill wrote her the poem, and that was really special to her, but it's really Ben who did it, and he's always been fighting for her. So that's a lot of Act 2's flashbacks are kind of about that kind of relationship and stuff. Part of it is about Bev's abusive father. Part of it is about Bill's grief. Not Bill. Yeah, Bill over Georgie.
Yeah.
There's so many character names to remember, and they're all like just kid names.
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, so a lot of it was just like, hey, you seen the first movie? Here's the first movie again. I also personally found it confusing a lot. They'd have these little personal hell torment moments, and I was like, is this a memory of something that had happened?
Right.
Or is this a hallucination, and think they're a kid again? Like, is Pennywise like screwing with their minds now, or did he then, and they're remembering that
I
happening
think it's
then?
a little of both.
Yeah, and it was kind of confusing,
It's kinda
jumping
clunky.
back and forth,
Yeah.
and it's whatever.
I mean, the final scene of the movie was great. In the sewer, I really like that a lot.
Sure.
I don't know. I mean, is this a must-watch for people? Aside from being the water cooler movie of the month? Like, if this wasn't the movie that everyone's likely talking about, would you say someone has to see it?
I would say definitely if you've seen the first or the 2017 version, this wraps everything up.
Yes.
But if you just let it go and you have 3 hours to kill, definitely go check it out.
Yeah, and it's really funny. The Bill Skarsgård and Bill Hader were worth the price of admission. Their performances
Definitely.
were. I mean, not to negate Jessica Chastain or James McAvoy, who were great, but there was just a depth to the character and the actor portraying the character for Bill Hader that was just fantastic. He's going to get an Academy Award one day, which is weird thinking back that he was the awkward gay guy in Saturday Night Live's. What was his
Stefan?
character? Stefan, yeah.
So far, oh yeah. That's one thing. And think about how many other comedians out there are actually good dramatic actors. I
Yeah.
mean,
Oh, yeah.
Robin Williams was a great dramatic in the great dramatic roles that he's had. And
Did you see Ricky Gervais's Afterlife that came out earlier this summer?
yes, I saw that.
Heavy shit.
Yes, it
Hella
was.
funny, but he takes the dramatic side really well.
I think something about the comedians, they understand people and
Well, they're
can
able to go
Tap
to dark
into more
places.
emotions, yeah.
Yeah.
It's tough because on one side I really liked a lot of those aspects of the movies, and the other side is just it's bloated. It's like
definitely bloated.
Thanksgiving dinner. Like parts of it are delicious, but at the end I'm just
Why did I go back for a second?
why did I keep eating that?
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, I think those are that's everything we got to say about it. Chapter
Pretty
2.
much. What did you really like about it? Like, what were
Bill Hader.
scenes that stuck?
Bill Hader. I loved the outside when they're going to the old house. That was in the first movie, and they turn to Bill Hader's character and they say, do you remember what you said the last time we were here? And he goes something like,
Run, hide.
No, he
Yeah,
goes,
so
"Run, hide."
I don't want to. I don't want to die.
I don't want to die. No, something else. So, your mom's fat?
It's like, it's good
No,
that we're not comparing dick sizes.
Right.
Or something.
He goes, no. The other thing goes, let's go kill that fucking clown. Let's go kill that fucking... I love that moment.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of moments like that. I mean, I need to see it again to fully appreciate
Yeah.
a lot of those...
Right.
A lot of those little scenes, but sorry.
Oh no, go ahead. Sorry.
I got distracted.
Sorry.
because I thought you were going to say something more intelligent than where I
No,
was going.
no, I was going to go with Travis brought it up earlier before we were recording. Is the cinematography
Yeah,
was awesome.
fantastic. camera work.
I was sitting there and the lighting was good, the camera movement was good.
Yep.
A lot of really creative transitions for scenes.
Yep.
Yes. A lot
which-
of old school ones too, where
Yeah.
they didn't have to use fancy CGI. Like they'd pan over from like the young version of the girl
Yeah.
riding her bike by, and then she'd pan over, and there's Jessica Chastain, the older
Yeah.
version, standing there. I mean, stupid old like soap opera type
Yeah, yeah,
techniques,
yeah.
but they worked really
Worked
well.
really
together.
well.
Definitely.
In fact, the first time we jumped back to see, was it Billy, the kid with the mullet, the bully from the first
Yeah.
one. Like, there's a transition where there's a bunch of water running through like the sewer pipes, and it
Yes.
spits out the young kid who survived the fall down the well or whatever. And it was like, oh wait, what? Why is he?
That was yeah.
And then it took me a second to realize, oh, we're back
in
27 years
1987
now.
or whatever,
Yeah,
yeah.
we're
The
back
puzzle
here.
piece
The puzzle piece
was cool. We
going up.
Oh, yeah, I
stars
love
and
that.
then that was
I
There
love
was
Well, the guy who played the kid who got locked up for killing his dad and then escapes. Who was that? Because he plays a psycho really well. Henry Bowers?
the kid.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, Henry Bowers. Yeah,
Teach Grant. That's a pirate name, I guess, because of Teach. What else has he been in? Because he was really good at playing just
he was
weird, creepy, unpredictable.
80s
stuff.
bully.
When Psycho, man.
Yeah.
He was in The Terror.
But
Huh.
yeah, I really liked that. I liked there was kind of a weird sense of dread, which I'm sure someone who's read the book will tell me it's like, oh, his like Pennywise's cosmic influence, where it's like, oh, make it so people don't notice the weird things that are happening or something.
Yeah.
It was like the town was empty.
Yeah.
Like there's like nobody in the town except for at the carnival.
Right.
Like you don't see anyone else. Like they're at their hotel and they're just going behind the bar and getting drinks, and it's like no one's there. Like all the time, they're going to the library. No, there's like one person at a library or something once, and there was just like a lot of weird, just empty moments. Bill Hader goes into like the church, right, somewhere when he's reminiscing, and
Yeah.
he's just sitting alone in there, like
Yeah.
everyone's just leaving their doors unlocked and just hanging out at the carnival or something. Like, I don't know what's happening in this town, but yeah.
The thing that was really
Let me
lacking
know
in this
what-
movie more than anything, I think it didn't have that charm that the first one did. That had that very like Stand By Me.
Yeah, I think
Like-
a lot of that is because of the casting of the kids, and the director's very good at directing kids for
Yeah.
that sort of thing. And I think that's why we have so much of the kids in this movie.
It's because they relied on
They
yeah.
were bringing those back. They were kind of leaning
But they
on
had
that
an
crutch a
all-star
little
cast.
bit. Yeah,
You had
fantastic
the
cast.
Old Spice guy,
Right.
and then you had Jessica Chastain,
Yeah,
James McAvoy, Bill Hader.
Yeah.
All these other great
Hacks.
people.
I'm not making fun of the Old Spice guy. Like honestly,
He
those
did a good
acts
job.
changed my life, and he did a good job. Like had I like not really picked up on that, like he's playing a completely different character.
Oh, yeah.
Like I would never know it. He was awkward and weird and kind of like like the dad who's like building weird crap in his garage.
Right.
Yeah, it's a mixed bag.
It is. It's definitely. It's not a bad movie.
Oh
No,
God,
I don't feel like I've wasted my time or my money on
maybe
this
30
movie.
minutes.
But it could be trimmed down quite
Yeah,
a bit.
no, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't regret seeing it. I was actually thinking about seeing it a second time before doing the review to kind of, I wanted to see kind of how it held up the second time, but also so I can remember stuff to talk about.
Sure.
Well, it's tough, because I go to a movie and I just want to sit down and check out.
Right.
And so like if I'm ever gonna like analyze a movie, I have to see it a bunch of times because I get caught up in the story so easily. And like when we're doing these movie reviews, I'm sitting there
Trying
like,
to write notes in the
yeah,
dark.
yeah. And so it takes me out of the and I do like that I was able to just sit down and just like soak this movie in.
Sure.
Because again, like you guys said, it's a beautiful movie. It's really well shot. The CGI misses in places. There's a little too much monster action, but it's creepy.
Yeah.
A lot of moments are really fucking creepy. Yeah. So I mean, it's a must see, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I like having movies that you feel like there's something at risk. Like it going into it.
Oh yeah.
In my head, any one of those characters could have been killed off.
Well, and two of them do die. One commits suicide, and the other one gets stabbed to death.
Exactly. And
Oh, and the nice gay couple at the beginning, one of them gets thrown off a bridge.
exactly.
Yeah.
So
then
having
he-
something at risk. And then he,
Oh,
The
and
little
they
girl.
murder not just one kid in this one. He rips the head off two kids, right? The little girl
Yeah.
and the guy in the mirrors.
Yes.
The kid in the mirrors. Yeah, both those kids die. So I mean, it's like
the first movie, it implied that he was like getting a lot of children in the sewers and stuff. There was a lot of implication of like, hey,
He's
there's
been
all
busy.
these missing kids posters and stuff going on, and he's like luring them down into the tunnels and
we've
stuff.
seen him doing it.
Yeah, but this one, it's like you see him like attack a lot of people. And
The little girl in the bleachers, that was pretty
That was
creepy.
rough.
It was that was probably one of the most intense parts of the movie.
Yeah.
Except it's almost exactly what happens with Georgie. So it felt like, again, it was like, hey, that worked in the first movie. Let's put it in this movie.
That a lot of ways that was what this is. Oh, you like the first movie? Let's just double the fun.
Yeah, we'll
Right.
double down on that.
It's
Yeah.
again, it's the Costco size. Why have one box of mac and cheese when you can have 12? All right, so I think we've beat this dead horse enough. So we've been sipping on this Angel's Envy.
Yes.
Is it still as good as you initially
Delicious.
thought?
Yeah.
It's great.
It lived up to the hype. Thank you. Other equally as good show, if not better.
Yeah.
You be the judge.
Mr. Babish?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's...
I
who is he?
subscribe. His
So
real
do I.
name's, I want to say it's Andrew.
I meant who is he in like
something.
a facetious, like, he's a
Oh,
nobody?
yeah. Sure. Yeah. I thought you were just asking him his name, knowing I
No, I don't know his
it.
name, but he's fantastic.
It's fantastic. I've learned quite a bit of cooking things from him.
Yeah, I love cooking. I love this. Angel's Envy. Well done on both the bottle, the label, and the delicious nectar inside. So, yeah, if you liked what you see, go ahead and hit subscribe. We do this every week. And if you want to follow us on social media, links are below. as well as our individual links, but they can find you on Instagram
At Captain Frucci, Instagram and Twitter.
Nice.
At JD Night Films at Instagram and Twitter.
And Real Jason Miller on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. You know what? Here's to you, Mr. Babish. Thanks for the recommendation. That's actually kind of good stuff.
It's really
It is
good.
good.
Yeah.
It is nice.
It's definitely up there.